How, why, when, and why it must be immediate.
Educate a woman, you have educated a nation.
The outcome of a review of the same election are being finalized.
When you climb in the pulpit, what you say matters a lot.
Have responsibility to serve the people.
Thank you everyone for joining us here on Insight today. This is Global Television. I'm Uyi Agmofuegbe. 10th of December every other year is set aside by the United Nations to mark World Human Rights Day. Amongst other things, it's a day that is so special that it takes a look at human rights situation across the globe, and in our case, Nigeria being one of such places where there's a continuous evaluation and assessment of human rights. However, in the last several decades, it will appear that for some places in the world, the situation doesn't seem to get better, with several countries being ranked very low in terms of their human rights approach and realities. On the program today, we want to look at what the case of Nigeria has been, whether it's the role of the government or in particular the law enforcement agencies or even others, including civil society organizations as of today. My guest is someone who is not only passionate about this subject, but he also comes with a wealth of experience under his belt. Dr. Charles Omini is President, International Human Rights Protection Service, Nigeria office. Thank you, Charles, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Great. So let's do a very candid, objective, dispassionate assessment of human rights situation in our country today.
Yeah, I think I would like to say, coming up with an assessment of the human rights situation in Nigeria is not too visible. Looking at the level of abuses and violations at all levels of life. So for me, I think we have a lot to do. Governance, the law enforcement agencies, and every citizen. Because when you're talking of human rights, you're talking of the rights and privileges of every citizen. So once these rights and privileges are being abused, or an enabling environment is not created for these rights and privileges, it turns to violation or abuse. So the level of abuse and violation in this country is so high, and a lot of factors led to this. And I think at the end, as we continue on the program, I'll be able to point out some of these factors that have led to the high level of human rights abuse and violation in our country.
We've heard people, especially those in government, talk about how that when you hear Amnesty International and other such similar organizations come up to talk about the ranking of countries, and then you look at where they place Nigeria and countries across Africa in particular, they say is some sort of, if you like, it's part of one of the approaches that the West uses to maybe suppress Africa, all right, that kind of thing. I mean, you hear all sorts, because every time you see these reports released, authorities in Africa, including in Nigeria, don't accept it. Why is there this contention about the authenticity or otherwise of this report?
Yeah, for me, I think what Amnesty International or other human rights organizations have released is right. We'll find ourselves in it. Let me give you an instance. You see, what has kept this country till date where it is a result of injustice. We've not had a level playing ground in our country for fairness and justice. And once you don't have justice in a system where there's no equity, there's going to be a whole lot of abuses and violations. So what the Amnesty International report is coming in with on our ranking is very, very right. Our country is one of the countries in the world that the rights of our citizens. I had a session yesterday. We're looking at the economic rights of Nigeria. Where are the economic rights of Nigeria? Today in the country, the economy is struggling. But if the economic rights of Nigeria is given to them, that is going to be an enabling platform for other initiatives, programs to be put in place for us to work towards what? Building a stronger economy that will lead the nation. So the releases they are making, they are very, very right in their releases. And we've seen, I visited few places. I visited the prisons. Some people are in the prison because of what? 2,000 naira to build themselves. They don't have it. Some 3,000 naira to build them. Some committed no offense, but just because they don't know anybody. So it is difficult, very, very cumbersome to say there's no enabling environment for the rights at all levels, cultural rights or every other right, to be protected or defended. You see, once my right is not protected and not being defended, I become powerless. What I need to do at that point in time, I'll be able to do it. Because of what? There is no environment created. Go to so many of our police stations today, a lot of people in detention, they've committed no offense. Maybe what they are doing, they are on their right, but somebody felt since he's on uniform, he can do this or he can do this. So you find out that the policies and the programs we have in place, even as a nation, does not create an enabling environment for the rights of Nigerians to be exercised.
But then again, that probably kicks the question of whether or not governments alone should be blamed entirely for abuses of human rights. I mean, aside governments and maybe institutions, maybe law enforcement agencies.
No, everyone should be blamed.
Including citizens.
Yeah, the citizens should be blamed as well. Because now, let me give you an instance. In one of our interactions with, let me give you an instance. I'm a military officer. Today, we have been attacked, maybe by the civilians or whatever, and a military man is being killed, or a uniform man is being killed. Who comes out to fight for their rights? So it has to do with everybody. And until we begin to know this is what we have to do, this is my limitation, this is what I stand to do, we are still not going to get it right. The citizens themselves abuse themselves. Okay, let's take, for instance, a man and a woman in the house. The man will start punching the woman. Are you going to accuse government? You are not going to accuse the government. The individual or the man who is the head of this family or the woman who is the second in the family, should be able to know his or her limitations. And it boils down to what I said earlier on, our laws are not effective. Because in a system where there is justice, I've seen other countries like America and the rest, where the justice systems work. If you go against the law, this is a punishment, and no matter how highly placed you are, you have to face that punishment. I think we'll begin to get it right. Today, I can commit an offense. I can even abuse somebody or violate the laws of the land or whatever. All I'm banking on is who I know. At the end of the day, I'm going to call Mr. This, I'm going to call Mr. B, and then they begin to call the principal officers in that agency or whatever. And you find out that even if they need to carry out thorough investigation, which at the end of the day, you go to know what you did, whether you're wrong or right, you find out that it will squash at the end of the day.
I want to talk to you about something. It's 75 years now since the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations. Has that instrument helped the fortunes of the rights of people across the world, or has it made it even worse?
No, globally it has helped, like United States and in other countries. But it hasn't worked in our country.
Why?
The power of I know this, I can do this and get away with it. It's worrisome because today, if you go to the police station today and ask them, let me know the number of those who committed crime this month in this station, you won't be able to get that data. So, sir, we have as a country, and even with our security agencies and every other organ, we have a lot to do. We have a whole lot to do. We need to be able to go back to the drawing board. The government is not the responsibility of only the government. We have our individual responsibility. Because this was able to work in other countries. Because there was an existing law.
Okay, so the UN Declaration on Human Rights only came to support the existing laws for them.
Yeah, it does. It does. It came to support the existing laws further. Because globally, what we are looking at is your access to health is your right. You should be given that. Your access to education is your right. You should be given that. But you see, if you check in other sectors or in other areas in our country, these things are not visible. Let me give you an instance of the judiciary. Most of the challenges we're having today is the judiciary.
Why is that? But they are supposed to also be the ones driving and supporting human rights.
Yes, this is the law, and this is what the law says. But you see, at the end of the day, you go to court, and something else we said.
There are two more things I wanted to attend to. I mean, just explain to us real quick. The theme for this year's observance of the Human Rights World Human Rights Day is freedom, equality, and justice for all. Is that realistic? In a world of over 8 billion human beings.
It's realistic. It's realistic. But you see, whether I like it or not, just like I rightly said, we have a whole lot of challenges. Let's look at the situation of Nigeria. Freedom, equality, and justice for all. We'll begin to ask ourselves, do we really have that freedom? Maybe freedom of speech. Because by the time you come out today to speak to power, they begin to see you as one who is antagonizing the government. Where is the equality? Do we have equality? where is our justice system? And if you're talking of the justice system here, you're throwing it back completely to the judiciary. And the judiciary is not there. I've seen a situation, we just finished an election, elections at all levels. And in most of the cases we had, these are proofs that this House of Assembly member didn't win this. But it has come to be the highest bidder. Well, who knows who that gets it at the end of the day. So, but I'm assuring you, we're going to do our best. We'll always engage those we need to make sure we get it right at the end of the day.
On a final note, there have been calls in several countries, of course, including Nigeria, for social media to be regulated. Isn't that one more threat to the conversation around human rights and its protection?
Well, if you check the social media today, there's a lot going on. Fake news and whatever. So I think for me, I'm also in support of that.
For regulation?
Yes. There should be a regulation in the social media. I think what we should get at the end of the day should be what is genuine.
And authentic.
And authentic, yeah.
I mean, it's great to say that because I'm a broadcast journalist. I'm also very concerned as a professional about the things that go on the social media, the things people put out.
Yeah.
I mean, they can be very crazy, whether it's against the government or even against citizens. However, by the time those regulations, I mean, all of the frameworks come on stream, I'm very sure it's also human rights champions like yourself that will get on the streets, get on the same social media even, and then start crying foul. I mean, how do you create a balance between regulating social media and, if you like, avoiding some draconian laws in the name of regulation?
Yeah, the fact doesn't hide. And once they are facts, they are facts. And there's no way you run away from this fact. So in a situation where it's just like what we are discussing here today, from what we have said so far, there are proofs of most of the things we have said. And if I begin to go on the social media without proofs or without back, I think I'm bringing in a confusion and trying to raise tension out of nothing. So, but once there are proofs and there are facts, they speak for themselves. Let me give you an instance. Today we are buying fuel, 620, 630, some places 650. There are proofs that that is what is obtainable in the market. So if I come up on social media and I say it's 700, do I have proof to back it up when what they are selling on the filling station is between 630 down to 650? So just like what I said earlier on, there should be a law regulating this. But you see, in regulating this too, they have to be cautioned. You don't try to shut the truth when it needs to be known. So I think it's something that has to go in stages and subject to review. And then at the end of the day, we should be able to come up with what is obtainable and what is not obtainable.
I want to say a big thank you to you, Dr. Charles Omini, President, International Human Rights Protection Service, Nigeria Office, for sharing with us on Insight today.
Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap on the program, everyone. We're so grateful for your time. I'm Agumofwebe. I'll see you again very soon.
Thank you very much.